Well, that one's probably high enough. I'm sanding on this trunk lid just to get an idea of how bad it really was, because you could see some of the stuff, but it was hard to see because it was all, you know, the paint's just totally destroyed from sitting for over 20 years outside. And somebody had drawn a picture in the trunk lid with like a screwdriver or something. You see it right here, okay? And then, so I decided it was probably best just to strip the trunk and see what I was dealing with. Now, all of these spots right here that still have paint is your low spots. Okay, I don't know how good of a body person you are. I'm absolutely terrible at this stuff. But I'm gonna do some things today that I've wanted to try for a while. So all the low spots need to be pulled up to try to get the oil can out of them and put some strength back in the panel, right? They're so bad. Now, if you look at this one right here, it's like on the compound curve of the trunk lid as it goes down. If you press down on this dude, all right, that whole panel gets stuck down, all right? Now, the easy thing to do is Bondo that dude and move on, but you're gonna have literally the thickness of a dime, just like the lengthwise, like I showed you on the back, to try to straighten that, and you'll never get it really right. And then if you do, it'll probably crack and fall off in just a couple of years. So without a stud gun, without all the stuff that you'd normally need to do body work, just like always, I'm gonna improvise and do what I can, the best I can. Now, this is some body work somebody had done before when they painted the car a long time ago. They obviously tried to straighten this little spot with Bondo. I will get in there and get that out. And then I'm just gonna pull it up like the rest of them and then put a little bit less Bondo in there, hopefully to begin with. And it will crack less. But it actually didn't look too bad. It's just these oil cans. Now, to prove that there was kids jumping on it, look at this. This one is literally shaped like a shoe, okay? With a left foot, this being your big toe pad right here, where all the weight, it probably jumped off the roof onto the trunk lid. And this is what it did. It oil canned this right here, all right? And if I was to really guess, I'll bet this one up here is from the right foot where they stepped off, all right? But who knows? I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. It is what it is, so I'm just gonna try to fix it as best as possible. So like I said, since I don't have a stud gun, I do have a MIG welder, and I do have some nails, and I'm gonna weld them to the low spots today and try to pull them out as best as possible with a slide hammer. Probably not the best technique, but at this point, what do I really have to lose? I mean, can I mangle it more? Yeah, I can mangle it more, but will it be terrible? I doubt it will be terrible. I can probably just come away with something better than what I already have. So all those low spots, a lot of them, you can't reach from underneath because the framing is directly under it. So just like this big one here, this, I don't know, what do you want to call that? We'll just call it Lake Michigan. That one's so low, you can actually feel it with your hand, big time. It's dipped down, and I'd say the center of it's probably right about here. You can't get to it because the framing's there. So I'd have to drill a hole in the framing and then try to finagle something up in there and just knock it up. But it'd be so much easier to just weld something to this and try to pull it up with a slide hammer. Now, when you weld, it's gonna make the metal nice and hot in that area, and it'll actually move pretty good. But what you're gonna have to do is move this one, let's say like, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch. It was finally gonna raise this one the couple thousandths that it's gonna need to be level. But it will try to return back to its normal shape the warmer it is, especially when you apply pressure in the point at which it had been dented. All right, so there's quite a few of them, and a lot of them are underneath the framing. You can see this one's obvious because this is a high spot here and a high spot here, and then it's low, obviously low here. But if you reach underneath, the reason why this is low is the framing goes right here and right here. And then this is the center of the frame bow. So you can't reach it without drilling a hole in the frame. So we're gonna try our best today to see what I can do to pull that out. Now the trunk lid, I'm just gonna paint with whatever paints I got left, just from previous projects. So I got my primer here. It's about 3/4 of a can, maybe a half a can, half a quart. And I got about half a quart of Ford Oxford White, so it's going to be Oxford White. And then I got about a pint and a half maybe of what's left of this blue that I used on the hood of the Suburban. That's literally all I'm going to do. I'm not going to spend any money on paint because paint body supplies have gone up significantly in the past couple of years. Luckily, I got quite a few supplies. They're not exactly what I need, but it's pieces that I have from our Ace Hardware went out of business, and so I literally cleaned out all their sandpaper for $4. And then I got some supplies here from the guys at Bad Tree Productions. They had a bunch of supplies sitting around left over from paint work, and we're like, hey man, do you need these? And I said, yeah, I can use them. So I'm just going to do that today, and we're going to try to pull all these dents out if possible. And then I'm going to weld nails in the area that you would do a stud gun, and I'm going to try to pull some of this stuff up. In worst case scenario, I have some high spots I got to knock down, which is way easier than taking low spots and bringing them up. So the first one I'm going to work on is this huge oil can here. And obviously the low spot is right there in the middle where most of the paint is left on almost the crown. So if I can pull that area up, a lot of this will come up by itself. So first thing I'm going to try is this hammer. I'm not going to knock it down. I'm going to use the hammer to pull on the head of the nail. All right, so you can see there's strength going back in this, because before I push it down, it would stay there. Now it pops back to place at least. Well, that one's probably high enough. Now, you can see the strength is back in the hood. It no longer freaking dimples. Well, it does. All right, well, we'll add a little bit more. Do a little bit more pulling. They can probably here, maybe if not. Yeah, weird. Build the strength back into the metal by taking the creases out around the oil can. And that's what we had here, is essentially a giant oil can where someone had stepped on it multiple times on the edge, and it made it weak. Okay, I still gotta get to these guys, and this one has to be redone. It's gotta come up some more. The best thing to do would probably be cut these off and hit them with a flat disc. I think it probably needs a couple more studs right here around this initial couple that I put in. So that's what we got going on today, removing oil cans. I'll see you later.